Sit down if you want to.
Right in the middle of what's going on.
I'm in the middle of an interrogation.
Take a seat, young Skywalker.
The middle children of history, man.
Middle of the day, Alfred.
Please, take a seat there.
Right now, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Stop the middle, it's a basic!
Meeting in the middle.
Like.
They fought for the freedom of
Middle.
the middle of a middle.
The middle of a war! Friggin' ridiculous!
Why don't we have a seat and talk it over?
No! Not the middle seat!
Now, folks, I know when it comes to the Middle Seats podcast, the best seat in the house for all things movies and entertainment, I say every week you gotta catch them all, but I really, really mean it this time, because this is the best episode of the Middle Seats podcast, the best seat in the house for all things movies and entertainment. As I mentioned before, I'm the Ash Ketchum for your ears, Andrew Auger. Let's meet my pokey friends. He's as cuddly as a Squirtle, Jigglypuff, and Snorlax combined, Mr. Nate Lungarini.
How's it going, everybody? Good to be with you. I'm feeling it. I got my Pokedex ready, all my badges polished up. Let's do it.
This is Nate's Christmas right here.
Just a touch.
I'm very much anticipating what Andrew's next line is.
He carries all the disappointment and sadness of a kid whose favorite TV show is Digimon, Mr. Jake Hensler.
Wow, bravo. I was looking for a Pokemon comparison. I thought you might have to text Nate. What Pokemon should I give Jake?
You're no Magikarp, Jake.
Right. I'm a little out of my element there.
You know what? Fine. I could take Magikarp because guess what I transform into?
True. I said true like I knew. I'm a little out of my element here.
Yeah, Andrew could pretty much just sit back and let Nate and I do our thing.
It's rare, too, that happens, too.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of this Pokemon talk is because we were reviewing Detective Pikachu on today's episode of the Middle Seat podcast. That's our third segment of 3. The show typically divided into those 3 distinct farts. Oh, my God.
You tried.
Nate, do not cut that. Just leave it in.
That was a train wreck. I lost control of what I was saying. Okay. We are talking about Pokemon so much because we are reviewing Detective Pikachu on the show today. That'll be segment 3 of our 3-part structure. Our first segment, we talk about lobby talk, where we just pick a topic and just kind of ramble about it for 10-15 minutes. This is one of the more fun segments of the show. Then we get really serious and we get into the big news of the week. A couple of really interesting things happened this week. We're going to deep dive those. And then, like I said, we'll have our Detective Pikachu review. If you're watching us right now on YouTube, welcome. This video will only include the lobby talk and news portions of our show. If you're looking for our Detective Pikachu review, check that out in a separate video. There are time codes in the description below so that you can kind of figure out what part you want to skip to. We hope you join us for all of it, but we understand you're busy people. We get it. The world moves quick.
There's badges to collect.
Yes, there's badges to collect. There's Pokemon to catch out in Central Park, right? That's still a thing, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move into our lobby talk segment.
Let's all go to the lobby.
You're in the lobby? What do you look like?
I will blow up the block before you can make the lobby.
So guys, we're in the full swing of summer. The summer 2019 movie season is upon us. Of course, it kicked off with Avengers Endgame. Though that really kind of was a controversial, is it a summer movie? Is it a late spring movie? It's a summer movie.
Marvel just decided when summer started.
Exactly. That's a great way to put it.
They literally changed the seasons.
Yeah, it's insane.
It'll be in theaters longer than a lot of the movies that we're going to talk about here.
That's very true. So what we're going to kind of talk about is the best of the rest, or the worst of the rest. As we get into our Detective Pikachu review later on, we'll tell you what we think of that movie. But beyond Pikachu and beyond Endgame, we've got a lot of big movies coming out over the next couple of weeks and couple of months. We want to make some bold predictions. We want to sit down and talk about some of those movies and what we think will work, what we think will definitely not work. Hopefully we're expecting a wild summer. Guys, this is my favorite time of year for movies. I know Oscar season has all the great prestige pictures and stuff, but these are the heavy hitters. There is a huge release every week from now, as we're recording this the week before John Wick Chapter 3 comes out, till about probably mid-August.
I think there's one weekend in July that's a little slow. And then that's it.
Exactly. So Jake, let's start with you. What is a bold prediction you have for summer 2019?
So I actually struggle with this one a little bit. I think I say that every week. I typically struggle with these.
He's trying so hard, ladies and
That's
gentlemen.
nothing new, actually. That's not a bold prediction on my part. I will struggle with lobby talk. I was going to say Tarantino's movie will make more money than it usually does and will be more well-liked than they normally are. That's just because there's a lot of buzz. That's not exactly that bold. My bold one, as I was scrubbing through the summer releases again, is I think Men in Black will do well, or pretty well critically, but I don't think there will be enough people who will care to go see it that it'll make a lot of money.
Interesting.
I think they have a great cast. The cast in it consistently does pretty good movies. They pick good projects. Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, who's Valkyrie in Thor Ragnarok, along with Liam Neeson and a bunch of other good people. But I don't think enough audience people will be interested in a Men in Black reboot to go out and see this by the numbers.
I'll agree with you here, Jake. I feel like I've never heard of the Men in Black fans the same way you hear of other franchise fans. Like, you got your Marvel go-tos, you got your DC fanboys.
Star Wars, obviously.
Star Wars fans, your Pokemon fans. Men in Black is a franchise that I think has just come up so sporadically over the years.
Yeah.
And always fluctuates in terms of quality that I don't think there's a long-term fan base for it.
Yeah, so you got 5 years between the first one and the second one. And you have 10 years in between the second and the third. And now you've got, it's like 7 now in between this reboot and the third one.
Right.
And like the problem too, Nate, to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying, is that not only have they been sporadic, but the sequels don't really have a great reputation. Like 3 is said to be a lot better than 2, which I agree with, but none of them match the charms of 1.
I don't even think I've seen 2 or 3 start to finish. I like 1 a lot.
Yeah.
But I never cared enough to really sit down and watch 2 or 3, and I feel like that's how a lot of people feel. They go, oh, Men in Black, the first one's great. I love Will Smith. And then there's not a whole lot that most people think about those movies.
The key to that franchise is the chemistry between the first 2 leads. And that's why the first movie succeeds as well as it does with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth have already proven that they have a lot of chemistry.
Right, which could prove me wrong. That could be the factor that proves me wrong.
So basically, I kind of was thinking the same lines as you. My thing was going to be, it's going to disappoint, but it's going to be the best Men in Black film. There's a chance that could happen.
Kind of like a Bumblebee scenario that we saw with Transformers franchise earlier.
That's a good way to put it. Like I said, I really like the 2 of them together. I think there's been enough time where they could come up with some fresh ideas. I've liked the trailer so far.
Right, I don't think it looks bad by any means. I just don't think there's enough interest behind it for enough people to go see it for it to make money. But I think the people who do go see it will be happy or satisfied at least. Well, I mean, we'll see. It comes out in a month. But yeah, that's my bold box office prediction. I don't think Men in Black is going to do particularly well money-wise.
Nate, what are you thinking?
All right. So going off the Detective Pikachu nostalgia fest that seems to be dominating a lot of the summer with all the remakes and rehashes of old franchises here, I have my eyes on Dora and the Lost City of Gold, the long-awaited live-action adaptation of Dora the Explorer.
Long-awaited?
Starring Michael Pena and Benicio del Toro.
And Danny Trejo as a monkey.
So the template I'm looking at here is actually a fan favorite, quote-unquote, from 2017, The Emoji Movie. I think that this movie is going to be critically panned. It's going to get horrible reviews, but the meme factor is there where you'll actually have a pretty good box office turnout because people see it ironically.
I was wondering that. The minute I saw Michael Pena mimicking a rave, I thought this movie's going to be awful. But it is a kid's movie. Everybody knows what Dora the Explorer is and what she's about, and it might make money. Especially in the late July, what is it, the very last weekend of July, right? So August it'll come out?
It's the beginning of August. Second weekend in August.
It isn't dealing with too much competition from the kids department, depending on how good Lion King does, which obviously is a big ask, but there's a couple weeks in between.
You're right.
Yeah, well, Lion King's going to make stupid money, but yeah, Nate, I think that's a very interesting but fair prediction. I think I'm on the same page with you there. I think it's going to be borderline garbage, if not full-on steaming hot pile of garbage. But I think it'll make decent money.
You know what's fascinating? My bold prediction was literally the inverse of what you just said. I think this is an all-time terrible trailer. I am with you guys on this, but I think the actual movie will be a lot less offensive. You know what I mean?
You think it'll be like 50s Rotten Tomato?
Exactly. It'll be 50s, 60s Rotten Tomatoes. It'll be mediocre.
That's boring.
And because of that, it will bomb.
Interesting.
It's not going to be in either extreme well enough. It'll settle in this middle section. And I can see it completely going the way you guys are talking about it too. I just thought, like, when I was thinking through it, I was like, there's no way it's as bad as the trailer we've seen.
It's absolutely possible.
It is possible. I don't know.
Did you really just get me excited for Dora to come out?
Right. It's like, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it's gonna be a trip no matter what. I think the biggest tell will be when we finally figure out who this movie is for. We don't really know if it's catered toward the nostalgic generation who just wants to see it, possibly with their own kids at this point. I don't know if the age gap is enough for that yet. Or if it's marketed towards kids who are currently watching Dora, the cartoon, right now.
That is why I think it will bomb, because they will never make that clear. Mm-hmm. They will not make that clear, and by the time they do, it will be way too late.
Well, Lego Movie pulled it off as a good thing that appealed to both generations.
Right.
So it's always possible.
But they had Phil Lord and Christopher Miller.
And Lego Movie looked good, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, even in the other extremes, where movies look okay, and then they end up being absolute disasters. And movies that look awful actually end up being that bad. The first thing I thought of, because of it's a Nickelodeon property, is The Last Airbender. The trailers for The Last Airbender are not terrible, but it's because none of the characters talk in those trailers.
I remember being excited for the trailers.
Right, exactly.
And then I heard the reviews and reactions, and I didn't go to see it.
Yeah. So we're going to have to see on Dora. That might make a fun review. We'll have to talk about that when that comes by.
Oh my God. I'm like mad that this kid is getting so much talk on the middle seats. There's like 4 episodes we brought up Dora now.
It is, yeah. I want to talk about kind of when I'm going over my bold predictions. I like picking, like, there's nothing more satisfying than like seeing the summer slate and picking the runaway hit. You know what I mean? The one that people weren't expecting. Mm-hmm. And I've been trying to pinpoint what that is, and I've boiled it down to 2 candidates. And I want to see what you guys are thinking too. The first one that I think could potentially run away and be a big hit that people aren't talking about like a ton yet is Booksmart. It's like the female Superbad, and it's directed by Olivia Wilde. It's like getting rave reviews.
The early reviews are insane.
It has like, I'm pretty sure it's still at 100 on Rotten Tomatoes.
An 86 Metascore, which is outstanding.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like one of the best comedies of the last couple of years. And it looks really funny in the trailers and stuff too. So I think if that word of mouth kind of carries it along, we could be looking at a huge breakaway hit there. Like, they've been trying to build buzz because of that. I can see it being like a Bridesmaid situation, kind of. And the second option, people love their horror movies. What about Ma? What do you guys think of that? Ma, which of course stars Octavia Spencer as like kind of this crazy woman who kind of takes teenagers under her wing, but there's more to it, and it ends up being murderous and gross. The trailers for it are really compelling.
Creepy.
Octavia Spencer's a really compelling actress to be in a lead role like this. And I'm getting a lot of Get Out vibes, too.
I think that's going to be a big word-of-mouth thing. Like, I don't think it'll have a big opening weekend, but if reviews are good and general audience members are good, it will have legs, and people will go see it.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hesitant on both of these picks, Drew, and honestly, that's mostly to the rated R nature of both your picks. I just feel like that's already such a limiting factor, and they're both very niche movies, so it's definitely possible. But you're also competing with Rocketman, Godzilla, Aladdin the week before. There's definitely competition for these movies.
Yeah. But you could also argue that there's counter-programming that's going on there, too. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, Ma's audience is probably not the same as Rocketman's audience. And Aladdin and Booksmart have definitely different audiences.
For sure.
Booksmart and John Wick might cross over a little bit.
If Booksmart was coming out 10 years ago, I might agree with you. Because that's when that whole Superbad-esque genre was really taken off. But we've seen a lot of these teen movies. What is it? Edge of 17 just came out. Lady Bird came out. And both of those, not exactly the same premise by any means, but I feel like the genre is the same. And neither of those did particularly well financially.
Yeah. Like I said, I won't be shocked if they bomb. But looking around the major obvious choices. But if we're talking smaller stuff, those are the 2 I'm targeting. So that'll do it for kind of our summer 2019 discussion. Let's pivot into our news segment here.
And this just in, a Newsbreak special report.
This is breaking news. I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story.
So from a big movie of summer, we transition into a big movie this winter. The world will be changed, folks, because Sonic the Hedgehog will be gracing a big screen for the first time Let's get into some backstory here because we've got a little bit of it to go through here. The trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog came out a few days before the release of Detective Pikachu. It's obvious why they wanted to do that. They wanted to set up the video game cinematic universe so Nick Fury could show up at the end of Detective Pikachu.
Welcome to Smash Bros.
Exactly. So the trailer came out. It has 30 million views on YouTube and 366,000 likes and 653,000 dislikes.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is quite the contrast. And the main reason people have been disliking so much, besides the fact that the movie may or may not look great, people do not like the design of the Sonic character. Now, guys, I mean, Nate can probably put a picture up if you're listening to this on YouTube and show you what Sonic looks like here. But just to describe it, I don't know. Like, he kind of looks like a pantsless meerkat. I don't.
Looks like a toddler with fully proportional arms in a Sonic suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's better.
You know when Paul Rudd shrinks in Ant-Man and the Wasp? It's like that kind of proportioning.
Oh, man. Like, comparing these character Sonic from actual art from the video games to this, it is such a travesty of the character. Why does he have teeth? Why are his eyes so small and far apart?
How do you expect him to eat, Nate, if he has no teeth?
Human teeth, though. Yeah,
yes, that's true. And people have been doing redesigns of the character that look even better. Like, they look like the original. So, moving the dots along, director of this movie's name is Jeff Fowler. He's a first-time director he's never done a movie before.
What a brutal start.
He literally hasn't been a part of a movie since 2009's Where the Wild Things Are, when he worked as an animator. He literally has not done anything since then.
How did he get this?
I don't know, but he got bullied by the internet into changing the design of the character for the final movie. So he has announced that they are going to be changing the look of Sonic in every frame of Sonic the Hedgehog. The movie's current budget is $90 million, so you can expect that to probably at least multiply by 1.5, if not double. Ben Schwartz provides the voice to Sonic. He's joined by live-action versions of James Marsden and Jim Carrey, who's making his first film appearance, I think, since Dumb and Dumber 2, if I'm correct.
Wow.
It's been a while.
He's had some smaller things come out on like Netflix and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
He's been semi-active.
The first major appearance, I think, is not too much of a stretch to say. All right, let's just get into this. What do we think about the idea of the redesign? Do we think this is a dangerous precedent being set? Do you think this is something that had to be done? Nate, go ahead.
We did it, Reddit. Oh, boy. Yeah, this is something else. Like, I am no major fanboy of the Sonic franchise, so I didn't have a lot of stake here in this movie, other than thinking that the design just looks like trash. But it reeks of studio interference where, like, an executive came in and said, we want to sell, like, Halloween costumes of this character. Can you make him look a little bit more like the kids that we're trying to appeal to, you know? Like, make him look like a kid-friendly Sonic. And it ended up in this horrible design, and then no one bothered to push back and say, this looks bad, and they just went with the movie. And I feel like in the trailer, you see, like, just his eyes up. He doesn't look too bad. It's when he moves and talks that he just looks wrong. So, in terms of actually changing it, I can't remember the last time we've had a formal introduction to a reshoot of CGI this extreme ever. Sometimes in trailers, we see, like, not quite finished special effects and people make fun of it for the trailer and then it gets better for the actual movie. This is a whole new ball game.
Yeah, because they seem pretty confident in this until the internet decided not to do it.
Oh boy. I don't suspect this will happen very often. They have to be pretty confident in their product if they think it's even worth putting in all the money to do reshoots for this at the box office.
That's
to
true.
Make its money back, you know? If they sink money into this and it bombs because it's just a bad movie, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it'll be another X in video game adaptations.
A big one.
Oh boy, if we're gonna go through the marks of all video game adaptations, we'll be here a while. That would make a great, like, a negative Hall of Fame discussion. Like, Jake, what do you think?
Well, I won't tell you what I think. I'll tell you what the people in the Detective Pikachu theater thought. When I went to see Detective Pikachu, they played this trailer in front of it, and there were a couple of trailers, and like normal, most people were either murmuring or quiet for most of the trailers. And then the Sonic one came on, and whoever this kid was next to me could not have been older than 12, probably like 10. The Sonic trailer comes on, the music starts playing, and he, without missing a beat, dead serious goes, "Oh no." Yes, like Nate, I was trying so hard not to laugh. This is hysterical. Nobody's excited for this. But I think it's unprecedented that the internet bullied the studio into changing their character. That's crazy. I really don't think we've ever seen that before. And if we have, not to this extent.
It's a little scary, too.
The internet is so powerful.
It really is.
Like, movie studios are crumbling to Reddit and Twitter and everything else, and YouTube. Oh, man. But yeah, I agree. The design just looks like a Sonic doll got, like, beat up in a factory somewhere, and they just were like, we'll sell it. It'll be fine. And I don't know. Everybody's horrified. Nobody likes it.
He does look like a taxidermy cat.
Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah, that was the part. They played the meow part, and one kid, like 2 rows, he must have been like 8 or 9. Sonic goes meow, and the kid goes, "What?" Like, this was his first time seeing the trailer, and I was like, yeah, I mean, that's what I did too.
Nobody thinks this is a good idea so far. And I think that's a shame because James Marsden is really good in Westworld. Personally, I'm a big Jim Carrey fan. I think Ben Schwartz, who, if anybody doesn't know Ben Schwartz, he's John Ralphio in Parks and Rec. I think that's a great choice. But man, what's going on over there?
Yeah, I don't think I have much more to add than you guys have. The precedent of the internet bullying filmmakers into changing their vision is not a great one. I hope this doesn't happen a lot, but I'm actually okay endorsing it here. I mean, they got to move this back now, right? Like,
that poor post-production team.
Yeah, there was a lot of controversy, I think, with Sausage Party. The animators were working a lot of overtime. The studio was not doing a good job supporting them doing it. And there was a lot of flack for that, I recall. If they pull similar stuff here at Paramount with the animators here, there's a good chance we might not see the movie. Like, that would be strike material. That's obviously me anticipating 5 steps ahead here, which may or may not happen. I'm not trying to say that will happen.
But you're right. It's possible.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah.
And I think for anybody listening, we could be a decent voice on why this is actually so hard. Because I've had some people say, yeah, this should be an easy fix. I've seen people edit it on Twitter in a day. Yes, the design can be changed in a day, but they have to implement it to every frame of every shot of every scene. They have to change his mouth, how he moves, and they have to finish the movie.
Right.
They have a lot to do.
Mm-hmm. And there's a chance they got to redo some scenes entirely or cut out some scenes entirely if the actors are looking at a different spot of the frame than where the new Sonic's head is. You know, little things like that look awful if you don't fix them.
I don't think a lot of people understand how difficult this is going to be for these post-production people.
Even just rendering these frames, once you finally create the character, can take days for a computer, like high-end, strong computer, to do. Like, this is a lot of taxing, time-consuming work. And at the end of the day, that's really what you're paying for with CGI, is the amount of time it takes to get it right.
Yeah.
And paying their animators to do it. It adds up quick.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens here. Moving on to another big winter release, not for this year, but for years coming up in the future. Disney kind of set the record straight on its future slate. They kind of dated a bunch of movies for the 2025s and beyond. And the big things we learned is their Christmas tentpoles from 2021 to about 2026, 2027. We now know that the Avatar sequels will be alternating with Star Wars films pretty much every year in the Christmas time area. And that starts with Avatar 2, which has been moved back for about the 4th or 5th time in its history to 2021. So Avatar 2 in 2021, a unknown Star Wars movie. I'm assuming that's probably going to be Rian Johnson's trilogy. I think he's ahead of the Game of Thrones creators trilogy, at least. I mean, I don't know for sure, but that's what I'm assuming is going to be that 2022 starting point right there. And then we'll go Avatar 3, a Star Wars movie, Avatar 4, a Star Wars movie, and then Avatar 5, because we'll definitely make it there.
So what is it? It's 4 to 5 years of Star Wars and Avatar alternating every December?
Yeah, pretty much every Christmas.
So if every movie studio that isn't Disney just crap themselves for the next 5 years. What the hell do we do now?
We've known that for a while, though, too, because also think about, they like to have Marvel movies at the beginning of November, and they're all over summer. Like, the entire industry is screwed, basically.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse is somewhere like whittling his fingers and
He's hanging out with Scrooge McDuck in the giant safe of money to swim in.
All in the coins and everything. Yeah. Which always looked like it hurt, by the way. But what can you do? So again, Avatar pushback once again. We kind of have discussed Avatar 2 in the past already, so we don't want to go too much into it. This is kind of going to be a brief one. But is there something technologically about Avatar 2 that will make all of this worth it? You know, Avatar 1 kind of revolutionized the 3D game. What does Avatar 2 need to do to be worth this delay?
Watch it be a total curveball, like a choose-your-own-adventure story put to theaters. Nobody will know until you get it in there.
Right. We'll see you back in 2 years.
But like, instead of 3D glasses, you get like choice glasses where you pick right or left.
no ending is the same.
I hope they just give everybody, like, they mess with everyone. They hand them those scratch and sniff cards walking in. This smells like Na'vi.
At 32 minutes in, scratch this part of your card.
Yeah. And it's just one of those tail sex scenes, and it smells gross. Anyway. We took that way too far. I took it too far.
You took that too far.
It's not a way.
For the second time that we brought Avatar up.
Yeah, I think Angel's got a thing for blue people. I don't know.
It's the most memorable thing about Avatar, which says something about Avatar the movie.
Aren't you also weirdly attracted to Nebula or something like that?
What?
I'm kidding.
You're just making stuff up.
I know, you like blue people.
Watch out, Genie.
Hey, Nate, I think he finally found my Tumblr. Here's the technological thing that I've heard thrown out. What if Avatar 2 is a 3D movie where you don't need to wear 3D glasses?
I will go see it, but you're not going to convince me that it's good.
I don't even know what that would look like. Wouldn't that just be blurry if you're looking at the wrong parts of the screen, which has always been my complaint about 3D to begin with?
I don't know how it would work. I didn't get that far, but I have heard people mention that.
We are going to make a 3D screen that literally juts out of the wall for you.
Somehow.
This is where someone more clever would be like, but that's just a play.
James Cameron at 75 is going to do it again.
Let's ship out all the actors out to each individual theater, and they'll play it out in real time.
There's one screening a week.
Honestly, what the hell else is Sam Worthington doing? Sure. Well, this was barely a conversation, so let's move on.
Yeah, we just established that this is crazy and no other movie studio is going to know what to do with themselves.
It's happening. Jake, you kind of provide me with a nice segue, though, because Disney has been dominating the markets and stuff. And let's talk about a Warner Brothers movie here that is dominating a genre. Remember a couple years ago when It lit the world on fire? It was actually the first ever episode of the Middle Seats podcast. We talked about the original It, if you guys remember, way back in the time machine where I sounded like I was underwater and Nate yelled at me several days after that.
Growing pains.
Good times, good times. But it's been 2 years since the original It, which means the Middle Seats is almost 2 years old.
Whoa.
And I bet we'll be celebrating this September with It Chapter 2. Let's take a look at the trailer.
I used to live here.
Is it like you remember?
Cleaner. Strange.
But you know what they say about Derry. No one who dies here ever really dies. What about you? Are you still his little girl, Beverly? Are you?
This meeting of the Losers Club has officially begun.
Hello.
It Chapter 2 is directed once again by Andy Muschietti, who before the original It was best known for the horror movie Mama, starring Jessica Chastain, a really underrated horror movie, by the way. Chastain is in this movie. She plays the older version of Beverly. We've got a brand new adult cast playing the older version of the Losers Club. James McAvoy, Bill Hader, two of the other actors that are embodying some of the big characters of the rest of the Losers Club. Of course, Bill Skarsgård is returning as Pennywise, and then the kids from the original cast are going to be returning in some kind of flashback form. The film will be released on that first weekend of September, right in the same window as when that original It movie came out. So let's go to Jake to start this off here. I mean, we'll get to our resident scaredy cat in a minute.
Thank you.
I thought the trailer was really, really cool and really interesting. Like 3/4 of it is like one long extended scene, but it's effective. It's intense. It's creepy. As the trailer goes, it builds like a story and tension and like character work, and it's really interesting for a trailer to do that, and it's certainly gripping. I liked it. I liked the trailer a lot, and I liked the first It quite a bit too. So if there was any doubt that anyone would go see this, I think it's settled. Everybody's gonna go see this.
All right, Nate. You're gonna have to watch this trailer to edit it several times, so hopefully you're over it by now.
No. In terms of trailer structure, I do kind of dig the single scene approach that they do here. It's not something that I think every movie should do, because then we're just going to be constantly in theaters rewatching a scene that we've already seen. So this isn't something that I want to see a trend of, but I think it really works here because we already know what it is from the last movie. So we don't need just like those jump scares again as a trailer. We can actually get the atmosphere and dread coming back to Derry. Really effective trailer. And I know we've talked about casting decisions on the show a couple months back, but actually seeing all these actors and actresses on the screen just reminded me how darn good this cast looks.
Yeah.
Like, this is a quality collection here. I wouldn't have expected this out of a horror movie if you had pitched this to me 2 years ago. And so many critically acclaimed horror movies have come out that we're going to be seeing more A-listers come down to stuff like this.
Which, hell yes, because one, I've been waiting for this era to come. I love when horror movies are great. Two, I can't wait to review them with you, Nate.
Yeah, they become harder and harder to avoid.
Yeah, I know, I love it. Actually, I have a question for you guys before Andrew gives his thoughts. What is it about old women that horror movies make so scary? Kind of like Laughing Children.
I mean, you could take their clothes off like this did. That didn't
No,
hurt.
not like...
Get your mind out of the gutter, Drew. What the hell did you like before this?
That's the first thing that came up to me. I don't know.
like there's something creepy about the old woman in the trailer. We know it's Pennywise, obviously, but there's something creepy about her. There's something creepy about children.
It's taking the semblance of innocence that you get, like old granny cooking cookies and making tea, little kids just playing on playscapes or whatever it is, and then twisting around into something that terrifies you. Yeah, it's an effective thing.
Right, it's such a classic formula. Absolutely. Let's not forget how big of a huge hit the original It was. I'm looking here, and I almost forgot how much money it made.
It's crazy money.
$700 million worldwide is absurd for a horror movie. It is the number 62 domestic film of all time. It is 112 all-time worldwide.
It made more money than Thor Ragnarok, I think.
Yeah, it made more.
It did. Wow.
Yeah, which is crazy.
The thing that's, I think, is really that I love about certain trailers, especially teaser trailers, is imagine just going to the theater and you get a trailer and you have no context of what it is. And you're like, wow, what is this? And the movie, it builds and builds. If you weren't clicking on a trailer called It Chapter 2, you wouldn't know this was the original It for sure until they show that picture of the Pennywise on the wall. That's what a really good teaser trailer does. It grabs your attention and then it makes you realize, like, oh no, not again. You get this like sense of dread. I mean, the trailer's creepy before that, but you don't attach it to the property until you get there. And I love that about this trailer, is how it kind of is built on the strength of the tension of the scene. It doesn't show Pennywise till the very end. And I really like that. This scene, I would assume, is probably coming in the first act of the movie. I'm assuming it's pretty early on.
Yeah, I would imagine it's establishing the characters kind of thing. Who they are, where they've been.
Yeah, exactly. And I think as far as that goes, in reintroducing us to this world, this is a really exciting, well-executed trailer.
Yeah. James McAvoy, I feel like, can act in pretty much any movie and be good. But I'm curious to see him in this. Jessica Chastain is kind of the same. But really, Bill Hader, this is outside of his element a little bit. But I think he's great casting for who he's going to play.
See, if you watched Barry, that wouldn't be true. Because he is, like, phenomenal and, like, a part drama. And he's not going to lose all of the comedy. Like, he's playing the adult version of Finn Wolfhard's character, who is the most comedic out of all of the kids.
Right.
So he's not losing that element completely. But yes, him doing horror is definitely a step outside of his element, for sure. And I really love that we're retaining the kids, too. I think that's important.
Yeah, I think that's important for even the financial part of this. I feel like the reason it blew up as much as it did because everyone was still on that Stranger Things high.
Yeah.
And just seeing kids deal with terrifying situations is just resonating with people in a way that I don't think it would have been successful 10 years ago or even 10 years in the future if that fad goes away. So it came out at just the right time to capitalize on that. And I think it's going to be important that they retain the kids in some degree to keep that momentum going.
That will do it for our news segment and for this portion of the Middle Seats podcast. Please look out for our Detective Pikachu review in a separate video. For Nate Lungarini and Jake Hensler, I'm Andrew Auger. Keep that seat warm, everyone. We'll be back soon.